morning. Welcome. Congratulations. So my name is Sherry Willard. I am the Retirement Services Manager for the Kern County Employees Retirement Association, your retirement plan. So I'm going to go over a few things about retirement today and hopefully give you some insight and some things to look forward to and to think about through your career. To withdraw, to go away, to retreat. These are literally the definitions of retirement on the internet in different dictionaries. Doesn't sound very proactive, does it? There was a study conducted a few years ago amongst middle-aged Americans. It found that nearly half will be considered poor in their retirement years and barely able to spend about $5 a day on food. $5. I spend that on a latte at Starbucks. But that's sad and it's scary. So let me share my definition of retirement with you. Prepare, plan, and save in order to secure your financial future. Retreat? I don't think so. No. So my goal by the end of this presentation is to hopefully inspire you to be proactive with your retirement, to plan and prepare. So let's get started. All right, so what's KCERA? KCERA stands for the Kern County Employees Retirement Association, your retirement. You are now members of the KCERA plan. KCERA is a defined benefit, not a defined contribution. So what that means is your contributions are mandatory. A defined contribution plan is like the Deferred Comp or 401k, where you can choose to put into that plan if you so want to. The benefit with KCERA is not based on how much money is in that plan, how much you've contributed. It's based on specific factors. Your years of service, your age at retirement, your highest monthly salary, and your benefit tier. The pension, once you meet the eligibility to start drawing it, that pension's paid to you for the rest of your life. You're never gonna outlive it. That sounds like a pretty sweet deal. Never gonna outlive it. So the membership is automatic upon appointment of 40 hours or more in a biweekly. We refer to them as biweeklies, but it's also known as a pay period. So once you become a member, like I stated, those contributions are mandatory. Your entry date into KCERA can be anywhere from 1 day up to 2 full weeks. We call that the waiting period. That is purchasable because in that waiting period, you aren't contributing into the system. You didn't make that contribution. You start making that contribution the first full biweekly after you've been hired. Okay, so that waiting period is purchasable. If you go out to our website, you can get access the purchase form so that you can submit that to our office if you want to see about purchasing that waiting period, see what it would cost. And we'll go over purchases a little bit later in the presentation. So how many of you have already received your welcome letter from KCERA? Excellent. Okay. How many of you have registered for your member portal? Okay, so by the end of today, I'm hoping all of you jump on there and you guys register for your portal. The portal is a wonderful tool. That's going to give you the access to your retirement. That portal is actually linked to your pension account that we at KCERA have access to. So as Dominic mentioned, you can run estimates, you can view your information, you can see what your contribution rate would be. It's just a wonderful tool, especially for you to prepare and plan for your future retirement. So what type of member are you? There's 2 types, safety or general. Safety is our sworn-in officers. We have our wonderful firefighters back there. All of y'all are safety. We've got some sheriff here. Y'all are safety. The rest of us who are not sworn in, we're general members. So as I mentioned, your contributions are mandatory. The wonderful thing is that they're on a pre-tax basis. So that's pretty good. They're deducted each biweekly. So every pay period, you get your paycheck, contributions coming out of that paycheck for your retirement. Now, you cannot borrow from your retirement with Casera. It's not like an IRA, 401k, or even the 457. It's not liquidable in that sense. The only way you can withdraw from that fund is if you terminate your employment, and after termination, you can then withdraw those monies, but you are severing your ties with Casera and any potential pension that you may be eligible for at a later time. Your contribution rate is going to be based on the tier that you're in, and also it could be based on your age. But most of you, it's going to be based on a flat rate. And as I mentioned, out on your portal, it will give you that flat rate. The contribution rate, in addition to that flat rate, it's going to be based on your base salary and any pensionable special pays that you may be receiving. So how does it work? How do you get the service credit? Every biweekly, every pay period. So you get your paycheck. We deduct that contribution for that paycheck or for that biweekly, and you get the service credit for that pay period. Every biweekly is 0.0383 of a year. Doesn't sound like a whole lot, but it stacks up pretty quick. Now, if you go out on a leave without pay for some reason, whether it be a personal leave or a medical leave, if you do not receive a paycheck, you don't make a contribution into Casera, therefore you're not receiving service credit for that biweekly. It may be purchasable though. Like I said, I'll get into purchases in a couple of slides down. All right, vesting. This is a very important milestone, your 5-year mark. This is one of the most important milestones for you, and the reason why is once you hit that 5 years, you're vested in our system. So that means if you were to get some amazing job somewhere else that's not a government sector, let's say private sector somewhere, and you want to leave, or you're going to move out of state because you've got, you want to go Colorado where it's clean air, whatever. If you're vested, you have your 5 years, you can leave your funds in service on deposit with Casera and start drawing a pension at a later date when you reach the eligibility to start drawing that benefit. So even though your service may only be or your pension may only be on the 5 years of service, that's still a benefit that would be paid to you for the rest of your life. So something to think about. But that 5-year vesting, that's an important milestone to keep in mind. Any purchases that you make, so if you purchase your extra help time, per diem time, any medical leaves of absence without pay for you, the member, or if you establish reciprocity and you have a reciprocal service with another government agency, all of that goes towards your vesting. So something else to keep in mind, and I will touch bases on the reciprocity in a few minutes as well. All right, so purchasing service credit. If you have previously had a per diem service or extra help time, how many of you have worked extra help for the county? Per diem, temporary? How many of you previously worked for the county as a permanent employee and you withdrew your funds when you left? Okay, so that would be considered a redeposit. All of that is purchasable with Casera. Especially those redeposits, those are definitely something I implore you look into because that actually may change the tier that you're in. So something to think about. With the extra help, the per diem, leaves of absence, personal leaves of absence, those are also purchasable. All of that is going to go towards your eligibility for retirement. It's going to go towards your vesting. And in the long haul, it's going to increase your years of service with Casera and therefore increase the pension that you would get. Now let me tell you one thing about purchases. Procrastination is not your friend. Interest is posted every 6 months. That means every 6 months it gets more expensive for you to purchase that service or redeposit that time. So if you are interested in that purchase, I definitely recommend you submit the request form, purchase it sooner rather than later. We have a variety of options on how to purchase it. You can do payroll deduction and spread it out over a decent period of time, especially with the redeposits. You can purchase that over a 5-year period of time. But also, for those of you at extra help and per diem, you have money in deferred comp because that's what you were contributing while you were that per diem or extra help employee. You can utilize those monies in deferred comp, roll it over to Casera to pay for that service. So you're going tax-free to tax-free. So that is a great use of those funds. So definitely, it's something I'd highly recommend you look into if you have any type of service that could be purchasable. Another type that is purchasable is we call PPS, prior public service. So what this is if you had prior military time. It would have to be less than 20 years because once you plugged in your 20 years, the government's going to give you a pension. So it would be less than 20 years of military time. Or if you worked for the Federal Employees Retirement System or any other governmental agency, you do not have funds on deposit with them, that may be purchasable. That may be time that you could purchase with Casera. That is definitely something you can look into for sure. All of the forms to purchase service, like I mentioned, is out on our website. One of my last slides does have our website out there. It's under the Resource Center. And also at the bottom of this wonderful little goldenrod sheet that you received today, I highly recommend keep this somewhere close. This is going to be your roadmap. This has got great tips for you just to think about through your career. Different types of things that may trigger, may not mean anything to you right now, but 5 years from now, it may mean something. So definitely keep this handy. But it also has our website, our email address, phone number, address, everything at the bottom. So something for you to keep up on your bulletin board, laminate it, frame it, look at it. One day I'm going to retire. All right, so no matter the type of service that you purchase, it's only going to go towards your Casera benefit. It will not enhance any other benefits through the county. So it doesn't increase your vacation, your seniority date. It doesn't change any of that. It only goes towards your retirement calculation. It doesn't go towards your health benefits or anything of that nature. So keep that in mind. But like I said, purchasing service can be beneficial, as can reciprocity. It's a pretty big word. A lot of people get hung up on it. I most definitely did when I first started. I practiced it over and over and over. And when I went for my interview, not one single question about reciprocity. Not one. But I got to know it quite well. So reciprocity is basically a link between one California governmental agency and another. So for instance, if you came to us from the state of California or Los Angeles County Employees Retirement System, Tulare County, any of the government agencies through California, you may be able to establish reciprocity. How many of you have come from another government agency? Okay, quite a few of you. Excellent. So you most definitely, on your sworn statement card, it would ask you, or when you filled it out online, asked you if you had service with another government agency. If you don't remember marking that, definitely contact us and we can check into that for you and get that process going if you still have funds on deposit with that other agency. You have to have started with our system in less than 6 months from when you left the other agency, and you cannot have any overlap. So you had to be completely terminated from them before you start with us. It's going to be reverse if you get a great job offer for another agency, let's say Ventura County, who wouldn't want to go work in Ventura, and you're going to be making a lot more money. So you want to establish reciprocity to their retirement system. You most definitely can do so. You just have to be completely severed from Kern before you start with Ventura or whatever agency, and you leave your funds and service on deposit with us. So what's the benefit? When you get ready to retire, this is the biggest benefit. We're going to share salaries with that other agency and vice versa. So whichever agency has the highest monthly average salary, that's what's going to be used to calculate your benefit in both systems. So that's a pretty sweet deal. If you only put in a couple of years here and you go work for Ventura County, end up plugging in 20 years there, you get ready to retire and your salary is 3 times what it was when you worked for Kern, we're going to use that salary to calculate your benefit here. So that's a pretty good deal. The other great benefit of Reciprocity is your combined years of service is going to go towards your eligibility for retirement. So you're going to get two retirement checks when you get ready to retire, one from that agency for your years of service with them based on your tier, whatever formula you're subject to with them, and then you would get a pension check from us for your service with us, whatever tier you're in, formula we use. But like I said, we're going to share salary, so it's a pretty good deal. So definitely something to look into if you haven't already. So, believe it or not, this is the biggest question I get, even from new employees. I'm not joking. I have people, I've been here for 2 hours and 12 minutes. Sherry, when can I retire? I'm ready. When can I go? Not joking. So once a member has 10 years of service eligibility, service credit, and they're minimum age 50, they can retire, regardless of whether you're safety or general. Once you have that 10 years, and that would include reciprocity, if you have reciprocal service, if you've purchased service, prior county service, that is, and you're minimum age 50, you can retire and start drawing a benefit. Or if you're age 70, and you are ready to retire, doesn't matter how many years of service you have, you can go ahead and retire. It's not uncommon for me. I've already had a couple of 70-year-old members retire even though they only had a couple of years of service. So that is an option. For safety members, you can retire once you have 20 years of service eligibility, regardless of your age. It is not uncommon for me to have a 48-year-old safety member retire once they hit that 20 years of service. For general members, 30 years of service, regardless of your age. So once you plug in your 30 years, you can go ahead and retire, and it doesn't matter if you're 50, 55, 60, you're eligible to retire once you have that 30 years, okay? All right, so the benefit tiers. We have a couple of different benefit tiers, but for most of you, you're all going to be tier 2, and the majority of you are going to be considered PEPRA because you were hired after January 1st, 2013. So we have our different membership type, our general and safety, and then we have our different tiers. So for tier 2 PEPRA, you're at 1.62% at 65. For what we call our legacy tier 2, so that would be these folks who had previous service on deposit, you are more than likely a tier 2 legacy, so you're at the 1.62% at 65 as well. The difference is the special pays that are pensionable and what salary is going to be used to calculate your benefit. So for our PEPRA members, there's not a lot of special pays that are pensionable, and this is all per the law. Also, the salary is based on the highest 3-year average, whereas legacy, it's going to be based on your highest 12-month average, and then there's different special pays that are pensionable. So there is a list out on our website of the special pays that are included and those that are excluded if you wanted to go out there and take a look. I definitely do not have that stored into my mental Rolodex because it's quite a large list on both sides, but it's definitely something you can go out there and you can look at. If you register for the portal, you start running your estimates, which I definitely urge you to do that, you will be able to see what the salary period it's pulling and those pays and so forth. So like I said, that portal is a great tool. I highly recommend you all register and start utilizing that for your planning. All right, so this matrix, I know it's kind of small and I will zoom in. Out on our website, we have our retirement member handbook, and it's under the Resource Center. These matrices are in the very back of the book, around page 25, 26, 27, somewhere around there. We have one for general tier 1 members, safety tier 1, and then we have our safety tier 2 and our general tier 2. This matrix, on the left side of the column is going to have your age going down vertically and your years of service going horizontally. Basically, match it up. It's going to tell you what percentage you would be entitled to of your final salary when you get ready to retire. So this matrix, in addition to the portal, is a really good tool for you to utilize in your retirement planning. So for instance, a general member, Tier 2, age 50, with 10 years of service, you are going to be entitled to 7.88% of your final salary. Say that again, 7.88% of your final salary. So am I trying to scare you? Yes, I am. The reason? I'll get to that. So if you look, I highlighted at age 55 with 15 years, 14.92%. So you most definitely, you need to supplement your pension with another source of income, and that's where your deferred comp is going to come in. Liliana is going to be presenting after me, and she's going to go over all the wonderful things about deferred comp and fill your brains with all kinds of great stuff. The majority of you, aside from the safety, are receiving a 6% premium pay on your paychecks. And the county is offering you a 6% match into deferred comp. So every month, you are getting 12% free money into your deferred comp if you so choose to contribute. That's amazing, because that is going to help you supplement your income and your pension when you get ready to retire. So basically, not taking advantage of the deferred comp match, you're really flushing 12% down the drain every month. So I know it's hard to get started, but even starting with just 1-2%, and you can build up to that. Over the length of your career, it will be substantial. And so that's the silver lining, is the deferred comp. You can take advantage of that match and utilize those free monies from the county and essentially level out the playing field. You can balance the scales. So on the far side, we have a Tier 1 employee, their contributions and what the county pays. Their retirement is higher. General members, they're at a 3% at 60. Safety is at 3% at 50. But for the Tier 2 members, you utilize that 6% match. You're putting your money in, and the county's matching that. You can balance the scales. Over that long haul, you can essentially balance the scales and be at essentially the same benefit with both sources as a Tier 1 employee. So it's definitely something to think about so that you can prepare and plan for your retirement. Take advantage of that. The other thing is that premium pay, it's pensionable. So when you go to retire, that is one, even for PEPRA, that is one of the pensionable items. So when your retirement's calculated, in addition to your base, that premium pay is included in that calculation. So you're getting the 6% match and the pensionable premium pay. So it's good stuff. Beneficiary designation is very important. I urge all my members, keep your beneficiaries current and up to date throughout your employment, throughout your career, even after you retire. There are substantial survivorship benefits. Even as an active member, if you pass away, your contribution balance and interest needs to be paid out to the appropriate person. So if you're married, your spouse must be named as your primary beneficiary. The reason for that is California is a community property state. Your pension is considered an asset. So it needs to be addressed if you end up getting divorced. So if your wedded marital bliss turns into not so blissful, you want to make sure that you contact Casera and have our legal staff look at your divorce documents before you submit them so that you can make sure that your Casera benefit is addressed appropriately. You most definitely don't want to exclude it. That's the last thing you want to do, because that's going to cost you time and money when you get ready to retire, or if you're resigning and you're wanting to withdraw your funds. That can delay us being able to either put you on payroll or refund those monies to you. That has to be addressed. So if you end up getting married, you have babies, or you end up getting divorced, make sure you update those beneficiaries with Casera. Keep it current and up to date. When you get ready to retire, we'll go over all of that with you again, different benefits, different options to choose when you get ready to retire. As I mentioned before, all of our forms are out on our website. And on the far side is where you will go to register for your member portal. To the right of that is the resources, and that section is where you'll find all of our forms, our member handbook. We also have just started our YouTube channel, so I definitely recommend go out to YouTube, type in KCERA, and we have about 4 videos out there right now. We are working on building that up, so I definitely recommend go out there, take a look at that. This presentation will actually end up getting uploaded into out onto the YouTube channel probably in a couple of weeks, maybe less. So we are building that. All of our resources, our information, everything's out there. I definitely recommend, if you haven't already, take some time, go out, check out our website. But if you have any questions that you cannot find on the website or out on your portal, you have any issues, specific concerns, contact our office. We're here to help you. We want to help you. We have a great group of representatives that want to help you go through this process, answer your questions, and be there for you, especially when you get down to retirement. But we're here with you. This is a long relationship that we'll have with you through your career. So does anyone have any questions? Yes, sir.
Why can't we name a trust?
The retirement law states that you cannot name a trust or a charitable organization. It has to be a person with an insurable interest. His question was why we couldn't name a trust for a beneficiary. Yes, ma'am.
If you're not permanent yet, can you give the figures of how much you have to spend by that time?
Her question was, if you're not permanent yet, can you get the figures on what the purchase would be for extra help time? Unfortunately, no. You have to actually be a permanent member in our system in order for us to run any of those calculations. Yes, sir.
How much does the survivor?
How much does the survivor get? After retirement or before?
Well, probably either way.
So his question is, what would a survivor get in the event of his death? Before retirement, your beneficiary is going to receive your contribution balance and interest. There's out in our handbook, we do have a section for death benefits, or survivorship benefits. As an active member, if you are eligible to retire at the time of your passing, then we would actually calculate your benefit as a retirement using your date of passing as the retirement date. And if you're married, then your spouse could essentially receive a 60% continuance of that benefit. If you're not married, then it reverts to the contribution balance and interest, and then 1 month salary for every year that you have, up to a maximum of 6 months. And all of this is out on the handbook, because I know that's a lot to try to absorb. After retirement, it's going to be based on what option you choose. So in retirement, you have 4 different options. If you're married, there's only 2 options. So a spouse would receive a minimum of a 60% continuance, but if you choose a modified option, it could leave them 100%. Okay. Any other questions?
What does that modified option, does it cost more money to do that, or how do you do it?
So his question was, does the modified option cost more money? When you go to retire, if you elect to take a modified option, it is going to reduce your benefit in order to leave that lifetime continuance to your named beneficiary. Yes, ma'am.
If you are eligible to purchase that credit, does it affect anything besides retirement, like vacation time, sick leave?
So her question was, if you do purchase service, does it affect anything other than retirement? No, it only enhances your retirement. It doesn't enhance any other benefits through the county. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so federal service, so say if you have 10 years, if you buy it out, you get 10 years added to your years of service here. How does that work?
So his question was, if he had federal service, if he purchased it in our system, how does that work? So if you had 10 years of service, and that's the certification, if the federal retirement system certified, yes, he had 10 years of service, and you purchased that in our system, when you reach the eligibility for retirement, let's say you retire after 20 years of continuous service, instead of calculating your pension on the 20 years, it's actually calculated on the 30 years. So it's that 20 that you've physically put in, and then the 10 years that you purchased.
And then how do you calculate how much you have to pay in order to purchase that service?
His question was, how does that get calculated, the purchase cost? Each member's different. It's based on how far back the time goes. That's because of interest, what your contribution rate would have been if you were a member, what the employer rates would have been. So it's a variety of different factors, and each person's different. So that's why we have to do a calculation for each person, unfortunately. You're welcome. Anyone else?
I have a question.
Yes.
Is the turnaround still 6 months to make your calculation?
So his question is the time frame for purchases still 6 months? Unfortunately, due to staffing, it has actually been extended. We have sent letters out to all of our members explaining that with some further details, but we are hopefully going to be able to get back to those within a month or two, but we have just had a severe shortage in our staffing, unfortunately. But I do recommend, if you want to purchase, if you're looking at purchasing service, get the form submitted now. Just because we have buyback suspended does not mean that it's going to be cheaper for you later on. Go ahead and submit the request now. We will put that request in the queue. Okay? Yes, sir.
Would it go from the date that you requested, not when it's actually processed?
His question was, would it go from the date requested, not the date processed? That's correct. There is an expiration date on each of the election forms that we send out, and so the interest would not be added until after that date. All right, well, thank you very much. As I stated, please keep this handy. If you have any questions, please definitely contact us, but I implore all of you, please go check out our website, and most definitely register for your portal. Register, and plan, and prepare for your future. Thank you.